says about that.
But this object was retrieved because it became disabled. Some of these retrieval operations are not extraterrestrial, but they would like sometimes the public to think maybe it was, because the bigger secret, I'll tell you right now, is not the extraterrestrial issue. It's these technologies which an unsupervised and frankly illegal operation have, which is a threat to the national security. Period. This we will prove. And this is a bigger threat, the existence of these in the hands of unsupervised operations that have escaped the oversight of the President of the Office of the President and the Congress since 1956 to 1960.
And so he then explains the difference between the man-made craft and the ones of extraterrestrial origin, which we've been reverse engineering for years, since the 1940s. And he shows the man-made side by side. So it's important to understand, yes, there are the alien craft that we have. We know that. That's without a doubt. But then we're also been reverse engineering them, and they look close, but not totally like them. So here he gives an example of the differences here.
If I had time, I would run through. We can go through very quickly. I think people in the military and in Congress and the American people need to know the difference between the man-made advanced technologies and how they look and the extraterrestrial vehicles. We're going to run through a side-by-side. You can look and see ET, one on the left, seamless. It is actually created in a material science and technology we don't have time to go into, but we understand that, versus the man-made ones that have components, parts, wires, and what have you. Next. And again. Next. And again. And then you hear on the right, that is the Norton Air Force Base 1988 air show, classified. We have a witness who was in there, and these on the right are man-made. They were late Mercury era out of 59 through early 60s in their construction, because we had mastered gravity control in October 1954.
So he goes on from there. Now, one of the most explosive whistleblowers is a member of the military, United States Marine.
Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim in the four winds, preaching in truth, sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold through your father. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahweh with the lesson. As you can see, that was redacted. And it was speaking about reverse engineering so-called UFOs, which a UFO has never crashed, and they've been trying to make them from what they see as eye vision. So I mean, they do have their own fake, falsified crafts that resemble chariots of old, you know what I mean? And you know, I'm saying that like as far as the things that they seen in the 50s, the 60s, you know what I mean? Because the Lord is showing them something different these days, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, even the things that they see today, when they see the chariots, every time they see a chariot, they're trying to create things to mimic it or whatever. But I'm gonna go to this. It says Revelation chapter 13 verse 14, and deceive. That's what they're here to do, deceive you, man. Right? They're here to deceive you. Matter of fact, let's go up to 13. Because and he doeth great wonders, right? And that's ultimately what they're doing. They're using their so-called modern technology to do great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven, right? That's Fat Boy and Little Man, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that they, you know, use that teaming, right? The Project Paperclip to build those hydrogen, right, or atomic bombs of that time. But now they're far more advanced. They're nuclear and hypersonic, which Russia and China has hypersonic, and now pretty sure North Korea is probably working on their hypersonic. It says on the earth, in the sight of men, right? That's so you can get in line with Esau Edom's, right? The least of the heathens to get on board with what they're pushing through the globe, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth, right? By making these reverse engineered UFO crafts by the means of those miracles. And so when you see these crafts, that's a miracle, man. You know, and then they pump these things on TV to you know, these characters, these big head, big eyes, green, you know, funny shaped, so-called, calling it aliens, right? Which Yahushai is an alien. He's not of this world. So those are really the angels that they're making fun of, right? The real chariots have angels in them, so-called black men, right? So it says, but they deceiving you by the means of their miracles, which is Esau Edom's, right? NATO, EU, and America, right? Being led by, because a small one should draw them to the battle, right? Which is talking about Amalek, right? It says, which had power in the sight of the beast, right? Which the fourth beast, which is the Roman Empire, which NATO, which is the EU, what recall their financial part of their economy, their branch, or you know the Edomite thing, you know, the Treaty of Rome, right? To bring those nations back together, to bring back those 10 heads, those, right? So it says, side of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which is the Roman Empire, right? Which is bread and circus, which that's what they have now. You have these coliseums, these basketball, football arenas. You got the military, you know what I mean? The police. These are these things that's you know, highly esteemed amongst the Edomite world, right? It says, this is what makes you feel like you're an American if you join their military, right? Which had the wound by the sword and did live, which is talking about the Roman Empire. That first leg of Rome fell down, right? And came back as NATO, EU, and America. When the Byzantine Empire started ruling, which were Jakes, which are so-called black people, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and they had a couple of Northern Kingdom in there too, but the majority was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The Byzantine Empire was the eastern half of the Roman Empire, and it survived over 1,000 years after the western half dissolved, right? Which those were Jake's. Yes, it's Wikipedia, Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire, also referred to as the Eastern Roman Empire or Byzantine, was the continuation of the Roman Empire, primarily in the Eastern Province during late antiquity and Middle Ages, when the capital city was Constantinople. It survived the fragmentation and fall of the Western Empire in the 5th century AD, right? Which that's the point I was trying to get, right? And I guess it said 4,000 years, so 5th century to 1453, which is when the Edomites came out of the Caucasus Mountains, started taking back over the world again. Yeah, so this is Nahum chapter 3, verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredom of the well-favored harlot, which is talking about America, it's a well-favored harlot, right? Because all the nations have what? Have been in bed with America. They've all laid with her, right? Right? They've all drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, right? Which the whole world has to feel the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this is the point right here. The ministers of witchcraft, right? So this is nothing but witchcraft that they're pulling over you, right? They're trying to makeshift chariots, which really the angels of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai drive those vehicles of the Most High, so they're trying to copy them, right? So that way they have, a greater opportunity to defend themselves or fight against, really, because you can't really defend yourself, because a man's going is of the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But I guess they'll defend themselves so they could keep their kingdom. But the Lord said He's going to take the kingdom, right? But this is the ministers of witchcraft that selleth nations through her whoredom, right? Trick you people, you peons, right? Salakia. Trick you little peons, right? Through her whoredom, right? Through that witchcraft, basically. Through selling you out, right? And the families through her witchcraft, right? And basically taking your tax money, building these things secretly, and they're trying to say that even Congress didn't know, which is all BS. There's no way when Ronald Reagan got on stage and said he wanted to start a Star Wars program, which they've been having crafts that can hover since 1950 something, but you want me to believe that the Congress didn't know, and you were spending money and they had no idea where the money went. See, this is why you Americans are so docile. It doesn't make sense. You mean you got a bunch of buffoons, stupid motherfuckers, Salakia. Forgive me for my Italian, Salakia. Ruling over you, man. To get to the point. You mean you don't know where the money's went? You don't know, but regardless. Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thus shall not know from whence it rises, right? Because you're trying to build your own chariots when those are only meant for the angels, man. It's not meant for a heathen, right? Especially the bases of men to have such a craft. But you know, when it comes to you, you're you're wicked, right? And you use it for more than just to defend yourself. You know, you says, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and that's all, you're full of mischief. And but the Lord is allowing you to do these things while simultaneously things are collapsing around you. Right? You're trying to maintain, like, like a person who's stumbling. It said that we're gonna the Jacob is the end. I mean, Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And the hand of a man is between his ankles, so it's like someone grabbing you by the ankle and pulling on you, and you're trying to not stumble. You're trying not to fall, right? And that's you. You're trying not to fall. And mischief shall fall upon you, and you're gonna fall. Thus shall not be able to put it off. You're not gonna be able to not stumble and fall, right? And desolation shall come upon thee. That's what the Lord said. You're still gonna fall. Desolation is gonna come upon you suddenly. It's gonna happen, oh so suddenly, which thus shall not know. Stand now. So this is what you're doing. That's really why you're making these reverse engineering spaceships, right? Or UFOs or UAPs or whatever you want to call it. But you are no angel, and you're definitely not the men of the Lord. You know what I mean? You're not the children of the Most High, right? And you're definitely not the angels. So it says, and stand now with thy enchantments. So that's basically what you're doing. Those are enchantments, man. Witchcraft, enchantments, deceptions, right? And with the multitude of thy sorceries, right? That's what you're really good at. Being a witch, doing your witchcraft, doing your sorceries, doing your enchantments, all your lies, right? It says, thus are weary. So like, yeah, my bad. Thy sorceries wherein thus has labored, right? Making all these different makeshifts, UFOs, doing all these different things from thy youth, right? From all the way from the Garden of Eden unto now, right? When you were just a serpent, and now that you're a dragon, you haven't stopped. And if so be thus should be able. So the Lord is taunting you. So hey, if it so be thus should be able to profit. So he said, go ahead and do it. Forget about it. I told you that's really against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. But you throw the law behind you. So go ahead. You know what? Go ahead. Hey, let's see if it profits you. If so be thus may it prevail. So hey, let's see if you be able to win against the angels of the Most High with your makeshift chariots, with your jets, with your laser guns. Let's see if it happens, man. Let's see if it really benefits you. Thus are weary in the multitude of thy counsel. So really, the Lord is, hey, you're stressed out, man. You don't really know what to do. You're stumbling all over the place. You don't really know what to do, but you're gonna try anyway, right? You have to, right? Let now the astrologers and stargazers, right? All that NASA, right? Because it's basically, that's what it's talking about, NASA, right? Your astrologers, your stargazers, which is NASA, and thy monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee. Right, Project Paperclip. Let them people, let what is it, Teeman. Hopefully they can come up with something. But the Lord said He's taking the wisdom from Teeman, man. Where's the wise? Where's the wise of Teeman, man? The Lord is draining you, Edomites. Prognosticators, stand up and save thee from those things that shall come upon you, which the Lord already said up above there. Said evil's gonna come upon you, and you gotta not know from which way it raised. So let's see if you can put this off of you when the Lord already said He's gonna do it to you, right?
A platoon of 6 men discovered a UFO. They came across it after the tsunami and subsequent earthquake and then subsequent tsunami in the Philippines and Indonesia. It was being used in some kind of human trafficking operation. And this is where this story is, gets crazy. This craft was likely a man-made reverse engineer craft, off the books craft. And this is a stunning story. Even the Daily Mail confirmed this story yesterday. Exclusive. Marine vet breaks 14-year silence to make astonishing claim that his 6-man unit saw a hovering octagonal UFO being loaded with weapons by unmarked U.S. forces who threatened them at gunpoint while serving in Indonesia in 2009. So the Marine is Michael Herrera, and he came forward yesterday for the first time and told us this story. Listen.
Thank you all for being here. What I'm about to tell you hasn't been something that I've disclosed until recently in the help of Dr. Greer, among other people, so I appreciate your help with this. In 2009, my unit, which was most degraded infantry battalion in the entire Marine Corps, which was 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, was called in to do humanitarian assistance operations out in the Philippines, which was Operation Ketsana. We flew to the southwestern part of the city, which is Padang. Looked a lot different through satellite imagery that I've recently seen. Back then is a lot different, especially because most of it was decimated, on fire, rubble, flooded, you name it, basically the worst kind of scenario you could ever see. We trekked up about 300 meters. When we got to this high point, I was taking video camera, and I had actually turned to the north, which just kind of slopes down. And right there was something that stuck out like a sore thumb, especially with jungle terrain, things like that, vegetation, very green stuff, was something that stuck out so well. It's always going to be basically imprisoned in my mind for the rest of my life, and it has been for 14 years, was something that was rotating, and it was transitioning between colors like a light matte gray as well as a dark matte black. You could see that the craft here actually had was roughly about 300 feet. And the reason why I know this is because you could fit 3 of the helicopters that we flew in on underneath this craft. And it had an audible hum to it, kind of like a guitar amp if you were to unplug that, or like a transformer. It's very audible. If I was to hear that sound again, I could tell you, okay, it's probably this thing or something similar to that. It's very distinct. And the way that it was floating, which was about 10 or 15, 20 feet off the ground, it was kind of a very eerie thing to see because I've never seen anything like that in my life. When we got up to that point, we were then intercepted by a team of soldiers or rogue military force, if you will. The most concerning thing about this is they all had American dialects. They had American gear. They had OTVs, black. They had black camouflage. They had very similar setups to what we have, but more high speed, something what you would see special operation groups these days have. They had no insignias on. They had no ranks. They had nothing that would signify who they were. They had black ball caps. They had M4A4s that were equipped with ACOGs, which was a step up from what we were currently issued, as well as PEC-16 IR illumination devices that you use for night vision and night patrols, things like that. So we were engaged. We had 8 of them put the drop on us. You could audibly hear them blow the safety selectors off. They basically started screaming at us, telling us what we were doing. We were not allowed to be there. Who were we with? What were we doing there? Threatened that they could kill us right then and there. We could get lost in the jungle. They could throw us out of the helicopter if they needed to. It was very nerve-wracking at that point, especially looking to my fellow Marines and seeing the reactions on their faces too. We were all freaking scared. At that time, there was 4 of these trucks, which were F-350s. They were up-armored. They were pretty beefy. They had weapon cases that I've seen before because of something that we've actually loaded weapons into. They had 2 of them that were in the back of each truck. They also had these containers that was illustrated right here, which come to find out through recent revelations from yesterday from somebody who came forward to Dr. Greer. I don't know who they are, but what they had told him and what he has told me is that this gentleman knows exactly what these were used for, because they had like a cylinder on the front, which is either for oxygen or what I hypothesized was for vacuum sealing, which lead me to suspect that they were smuggling narcotics or drugs. Come to find out, it's more disturbing than that. This gentleman has first-hand account with this and says that it was for people. It's very disheartening, especially because that part of the world have already gotten ravaged, and it's something that is very hard to see right now. Because of what I've witnessed, and it's very disheartening. And this is why I'm up here.
So human trafficking. So using these craft has nothing to do with aliens. These are reverse engineered from that technology, and these off the books people are using this for human trafficking purposes. That's what he saw with his fellow Marines, whose lives were then threatened.
Yeah, this is Isaiah 26 and 10. So not only are they taking what belongs to the Most High and revamping it or whatever they trying to do to make it their own, they're using it to traffic people, man. Drugs, people, because the dude said he thought it was just drugs. But it was more horrific than that. It was people, right? So this is hey, this is the degenerateness of Esau, man. That's why you're not fit to rule, man. You're not fit to rule, right? Let favor, right? Because that's ultimately what it is, man. You're the basis of men, and the Lord out of all the nations. Right? The bases of men even get their opportunity, because the Lord basically gave every nation a chance to rule, and it showed that you cannot rule without Yahweh, right? Because the only kingdom that reigned perfectly because they had Yahweh was Israel, and especially during the time of Solomon before he went off, and it shows you could only rule righteously when you have Yahweh, but you have to be Yahweh's people. So Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has to be with you, man. And since you're not the people of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you're definitely unfit to rule, right? Because it showed you even the people of God, if they're not with their power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, they fail. That's how we ended up in slavery. That's how we end up where we're at. That's why the Byzantine Empire, when we ruled that for 1,000 years, it didn't last. It was just that 1,000 years, right? So we were all sorts of wickedness. So without Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you need him, and you have to be an Israelite. That's why the Lord's dealing with the elect now. It says, yet will he not learn righteousness, though favor is shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness in the land of uprightness, right? Because they didn't, by the Balfour Declaration, they're in the land of Israel, and they're doing all manners of wickedness, man. War this, war that, warring against the Palestine, warring against Palestine right now. But the scriptures say that there should be no more war, there should be no more disease, there should be no more death when the children of Israel end up back in that land, fulfilling prophecy of going back into that land. You know what I mean? So we're waiting for the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Will he deal unrighteously? And that's ultimately what you're doing. You're taking an advanced technology to basically traffic people, man, and drugs. But then say that the United States don't have any money. I mean, if you're doing all that, you should at least benefit the people. Take the guns, the money, the drugs, traffic people. But there should be money here. You know what I'm saying? That is insane. And will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. Right? You will not be able to look upon the glory of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Right? Yeah, so this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 6. Come therefore, let us enjoy the things, right? Because this is going into the mentality of Esau. This is why he's the basis of men, and he'll take what the Most High gave him, and he'll have a pompous mentality as if he could defeat the Most High. It says, yeah, come let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let us speedily, right? Because they're talking about Operation Warp Speed, right? To further what their enterprise. Use, so let us speedily use the creation as in youth, right? And what were they been doing? They've been trafficking people, trafficking whatever amount of whatever goods, which the first goods were people. The first goods were you Israelites, and they could continue to traffic you Israelites and the heathen, right? Because this guy was saying something about Malaysia, so they're probably grabbing a couple of them Malaysians, but they most likely they had Israelites there, right? They're still trafficking Israelites, right, to this day. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ornaments, right? The Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, right? And the countless numbers of these international bankers, man. Names that you'll probably never know, right? Because this is the mentality of Esau. Because haven't you heard the phrase, smell the flowers, right? Let no flower of the spring pass us by, right? Wake up and smell the flowers. You only live once. Let's do it YOLO. That's the mentality of Esau Edom, and he passed it off to you Jakes, to you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, man. Your whole thing is to be YOLO. You only live once, but that's not the case, man. You live more than once, right? You're gonna come back to serve out your punishment. That's what Esau don't understand. A lot of you Edomites, you're gonna serve out your punishment, right? And some of you are gonna die that first 1,000 years of slavery. You're gonna die in the field, and then you're gonna be born again as a baby after we have you birth children, right? And your third and fourth generation, you're gonna return as an Edomite slave, man. Shit, you know, there ain't no that's why they're saying, hey, let us enjoy it now, cause there ain't gonna be a tomorrow, right? But that's not true. There's gonna be a tomorrow. There's repercussions to everything, man. So it says, let us crown ourselves. Well, let me see. Let no flower pass. Let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part, right? The 1%, the rich 1%. Let us go. That's why they're constantly stealing from the poor, because they know that there's no actual future for them in a sense of it being good now, because they went too far, right? They went too far to the left, and now there ain't no coming back. Now we gotta make you serve your 1,000 years of slavery, and then we're going to Obadiah you 1:18, right? Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness, right? You know, they on the top, the creme de la creme, right? They're on the top. They're ruling. They're in their voluptuousness. So everybody, hey, let us style and profile, man. Let's do what we do. Rule the world, and then we rule it as God. We'll you know what I mean? We control whether there's a plague that goes out on the earth, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you live, whether you die. They're living as basically as God, right? They have a lot of say so on what goes on the planet Earth, right? But ultimately, really, it's the Most High that controls them. That's what they don't understand. Let us leave tokens, right? Because that's why they put all those statues, and they write, they make, they conquer lands and name them after their own name, that their kingdom may go on forever, or that they'll always have that memory, at least that remembrance of them. But the Lord said, there is going to be no remembrance of you. It says, because that's what a token is. A token is for you can remember. Tokens of our joyfulness in every place, right? And they do that around the world. Around the world, there's these little Statue of Liberties, or the little pyramids, right? There's what's little things? Oh, the ovalips. There it is. They're all around the world. There's the ovalips that comes from Egypt. All around the world. That's like a staple to a token of their joyfulness in every place. For this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress what? And that's what they've been doing, man. Let us oppress the poor, righteous man. And hey, what do you think they're doing when they're trafficking people? Let us oppress the poor, righteous man. Let us not spare the widow. Right? So they don't care about you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and they don't care about you other nations, you poor of the other nations, because even your leaders are in cahoots with this. That's why you're being taken and trafficked and sold as slaves and used, right? He selleth of the nations, right? So what do you think he's selling those nations for? Trafficking, man. So it says, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. So they don't give a damn, young, old, or whatever. If Esau can make money off you, you damn sure best believe that's what he's going to do. Right? Yeah, so this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, verse 3. Riches are not comely, which means beautiful. It's not beautiful or comely, which is beautiful or good, for a niggard. right? Nigger is what? Someone stingy, selfish, right? What should an envious man do with money? Yeah, because he's envious of the Israelites. And what is he going to do with money? He's going to use that money to build some of the most advanced technology in order to do what he's always done, and to do it under a cloak, right? Because what could you do about this spaceship floating looking thing, and then you thinking these spaceships are some out of the world thing? Like, wow, that was a spaceship. Those are aliens. No, those things got sex trafficked people in there. Because this is how demonic this man is, man. This is Negard, a stingy, so you get the definition, a stingy or ungenerous person. And that's these Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. They're very stingy and ungenerous people, man. The Lord allowed them to come up with this technology. The Lord allowed them to rule the world, and they rule it unjustly, man. They oppress the poor on purpose. Said, let us oppress the poor and righteous man. Let us do that. For what? There's great riches in that. Right? Yeah, it says Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, verse 4. He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul. Because ultimately, the Lord is going to judge you. So you're defrauding your own soul. Gathereth for others, right? Which will be your so-called children, your third, fourth generation. You're handing down this so-called generational wealth. But guess what? All that thing is actually falling apart. Because that shall spend his good riotously. And that's what they've been doing, man. Spending all this money that they had, like basically like it's going out of style. Sending another $1 billion over to Ukraine for a war. They've been basically using money for wars this whole time. You know, at one time, like, America was one of the number one richest places, but you've been fighting a war for so long that you drop down to the 11th richest country. And really, I think that's even propped up because, you know, it's probably only because you had the world currency reserve, but people are coming away from the dollar, and once all these countries step away from the dollar, you're gonna see how far you truly fall, right? Yeah, he that is evil to himself, whom will he be good? Right? So you so-called black, Hispanic, and you can see this dude is the devil. Why would you pollute the air that you have to breathe? He's not good to his own self, right? Why would you approve what is this laboratory meat? Don't you got to eat the laboratory meat too, or no? Or you got some other type of meat? I'm saying. and you feeding the pup, which, if you're a ruler, shouldn't you rule the people in righteousness? Right? You're saying you're this smart, you're a great king. Well, a great king wouldn't do that to his people, man. But hey, leave it to the devil, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, and he will, he shall, and he has, and he is. He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Exactly. You don't take pleasure in his goods at the end of the day. There is none worse than he that envieth himself. Wow. And that's you. That's why Satan is going to war against Satan, and you're going to come to an end of yourself. And this is a recompense, of his wickedness. Hey, and the Lord's going to pay you back. At the end of the day, you're going to defeat yourself, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakal Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the four winds, preaching the truth of sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball.